Hello. So for our community needs assessment, we decided to focus on the access to community services in Springfield, Massachusetts. This research and data collection was done by Olivia Fields, Caitlin Guerin, Elizabeth True, Jennifer Florin, and Alex Otero. The community that we decided to focus on was Springfield, Massachusetts. We chose this community because of its proximity to Westfield State University. Another reason we chose this community is because the majority of us work in or near this city. A lot of our internships surround this area, so we have a lot of interaction with the community. Springfield's also a community with a lot of different needs. It's a very diverse community and had a lot of potential for growth. For the demographics of the community, we have the race is split up between a majority being Hispanic, about 44-45%. White is about 31%, Black is 18%, and Asian is 2.9%, close to 3%. For the income, to represent that, we decided to take a look at the unemployment rate and take a look at the workforce. So in Springfield, the unemployment rate is 7.6%, whereas Massachusetts as a whole is about 4.7%. So we're kind of a lot above the average place for that. We got this data from the Springfield census in the year 2016. On the right, you can see some graphs that we chose to better represent the facts that I've just stated. The problem we're addressing is a general access to services. So Springfield, Massachusetts is a community that is systemically oppressed and very impoverished. There's a lack and a need for assistance program and a resource center to connect these individuals and families to key community resources. These resources are plentiful in Springfield, and they address a variety of needs. We're focusing specifically on some of the larger needs of the area. These needs include homelessness, unemployment, substance abuse, childcare, community involvement, and support. By that we mean the ways in which members of the community can get involved or find ties to the community and be a part of where they're from. So one of the things that we decided to utilize, one of the methods we chose to go about this assessment was a needs survey. This needs survey would address the Springfield residents, the local businesses, the local charities, and other local community services within the Springfield area. The methodology behind this was that gathering this information will provide our research team with a valid set of data on what the community actually needs. This will assist in addressing the proper services needed in the community. So by getting this data from the needs survey, we can really take a look at what the people from this area are actually needing and not just what we're seeing, because I'm sure there's things that we would miss without this. This is a look at the survey that we created. We put a little general background on the person completing the survey, so their age, gender, and ethnicity, just so we can get an idea of the population that we're surveying. So as you can see, we asked questions about the different areas of needs that we were concerned about and how accessible they are to the members of the community. The next method that we chose to, the next method that we chose was to interview key informants, so talk with key members of this community. The idea about this was that talking with these informants can and will help us get a better understanding of how we can address and pinpoint specific needs of this community. Because these informants are part of the community and they have experience working with this population, they will have a better sense of what the community needs and how we can begin to address connecting them to services that address those needs. The informants also may provide insight into issues that we don't see. As I said with the survey, living and working and being a full-blown member of this community, they would know a lot more about what is missing and what needs to be addressed. We created the list of informants based on the accessibility to actually have a conversation with them. It was really hard to get in contact with a lot of people, but we had a list of services and organizations in the area just by doing our research and finding what services were around for the key issues that we listed previously. So one of the key informants that we chose to talk to was the Abbey House and a staff member from there. This is a homeless shelter that is just for women. These are the questions we asked, and these are some of the quotes that we pulled from the responses. So the questions we asked were, what are some of the major reasons, if any, that people in this community become homeless? Does your shelter teach any skills or provide any services in order to help people get back on their feet? And any other comments or suggestions that would help as well. So some of the responses from this include some information that in the area, the economic struggle, emotional crisis, transitioning, domestic violence, and inadequate housing are the key factors into why families and individuals become homeless. We also found out that the main priority of this shelter is housing, clearly. They offer a variety of services, including budget workshops and different applications to utilize to help them get on their feet. Some really cool things that we did learn was that there's a large lack of education on the things going on in the community. So there's not a lot of people that know about mental health things, addiction and recovery, how to get subsidized housing, education. There's just a lot missing in the community when it comes to addressing the issues that many of the residents are facing. Another key informant that we decided to speak to was the Springfield Methadone Clinic. This was an attempt to get some information about the community that is addressing the drug issues that are occurring within the community. So one of the questions asked was, what issues are you seeing with the organization? The response to this was that it is a huge struggle to get people to be consistent with treatment, and it's fairly out of their hands you can't force someone to want to receive treatment or want to make the change in their life to get better. Another problem that this person said that they do face is that they see people who have an addiction that has been less than a year, and then they have to turn them away because of that policy. So there's a huge policy factor that's kind of hindering the success of the residents of this community. Another point about educating the community was that there's not a lot of people that are aware about the opioid addiction and the things that are going on with that, and how it's really a rampant problem in Springfield. There's a huge issue with this methadone clinic in that they have a lot of clients and not too many resources like them out there. So it would be a huge benefit to really look into specifically the how the community is responding to this opioid epidemic. So that's something interesting that we've learned so far through this assessment. Another organization that we talked with for a key informant was a member from the Clean Slate organization, who serves those who are dependent on multiple substances, including opioids and alcohol. The person that was being interviewed was not super excited to be talking with us, so we didn't get too much, but again, the point about being one of the only services that addresses this issue was the main problem for this organization. Another part of this assessment that we decided to add in was to research best practices. So what other communities just like Springfield's what are they doing to connect the community members to services that we talk to, like the ones we talked to. The methodology behind this was that by researching best practices, we as a research team can begin to understand how other communities address the needs of their citizens. The first research article that's listed above discusses the components that a resource center should incorporate. The other links are successful examples of CRCs in other parts of the country, and CRCs are resource centers. So as we discussed earlier, there's a consolidated list we came up with of issues that the community faces, and one of the largest ones is homelessness. And so what we did was we took a look at programs in Springfield that address this issue. So food pantries, soup kitchens, job referrals, to gain money to begin to afford housing. So by looking into all these, we decided that this information is something that we as a resource center would be able to offer up and explain more to the members of this community. Another issue that we had listed was unemployment and what we as a information center could offer to community members. So we could offer up opportunities for career fairs, times for resume building, job search assistance. One of our team members did a little research on actual places that we could get information on and get connected to, and really get the members of this community getting the support that they need. So we have the fuel assistance and the family resource centers that connect family to mental health support and other different really cool things to help the families of this community. Another issue that we really highlighted was the problems with childcare. So if you're not working, you can't afford childcare or good childcare at that. So what we took a look at was the centers in the area that offer financial assistance or that really cater to the community and their needs. So we have the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA. We also have the Gandhara Center, which has a lot of subsections that would be able to assist in childcare. There's daycare at churches, there's private daycares, and then we really kind of looked into vouchers because you would need assistance in affording this childcare. And so we did a lot of looking into New England farm workers who offer up vouchers for different childcare facilities. Taken from their website, you can see it provides multiple different human services to improve the quality of life for thousands of low-income people throughout the Northeast. So this does include daycare. One of our last issues is substance abuse and what we can offer to the community to get them the help they need. So we've got, we would provide information about AA meetings, where they're held, possibly even have one at our facility, and also have a solid resource center area for the drug rehab facilities in the area, and actually do those intake referrals and send them over to, make the moves for our clients. We would also offer up counseling referrals because a lot of times that's a major part of recovering or trying to get help with family members who are struggling with this issue. So throughout this needs assessment, we kind of learned a lot. We found through the survey that we would be able to gain a much more a solid, condensed version of what we're seeing and what we're missing from the community members. So answering those questions and having direct yes or no's and levels of how well they think they're being connected to services would really show us what issues the community is not addressing and how accessible those services are. Interviewing key informants, we gained a lot of useful knowledge. We learned about the kind of services offered in the community, the lack of connecting the population, that these services are tailored for. So kind of learning about that gap between the two. We also learned a lot about the overall lack of education of these key issues in the area. So really educating the population on the issue and maybe knocking down stereotypes and creating a better knowledge of what's available. This information will help us better organize the center that